Yo, what's up? We're going to go ahead and look at the Lesson 8-1 assignment together, Operations with Radicals and Factoring. I'm going to start with number 1. I'm asked to simplify here. So I have the square root of 6 times the square root of 8. I'm going to break down the 6. I'm thinking 3 and 2. And for 8, I'm thinking 4 and 2. And I'm going to break down the 4. That's 2 and 2. Great. Let's circle this pair here, and I'm going to circle that pair there. So I'm going to draw my square root sign, okay? I'm going to take one of the 2's out, and it's going to go outside of the square root. And I look at this one here, and I'm going to take one of the 2's out as well. So I have 2 times 2 outside, and then what is remaining? The 3. So the 3 goes inside of the radical sign. So then I can proceed to simplify. That's not correct. This is actually 4 root 3. And there you go. That's number 1. Number 3, let's see. Okay, I have 27. I'm thinking 9 and 3. And then here is 12. That's 4 and 3. I can break down the 9 over here. That's 3 and 3. And I can break down the 4 over here. That's 2 and 2. So I can circle the 2 3's. And I can circle this pair of 3's. And also I can circle the pair of 2's here. So I actually have 3 times 2 times 3 and nothing inside of the square root. I don't see any lonely numbers whatsoever. So I can say that this is 18. So the square root of 27 times the square root of 2. If I multiply that, that's going to give me a perfect square. And I'm going to take the square root of the perfect square, and that's going to give me 18. Number 6, we're going to multiply the coefficient to coefficient. So it's negative 6 times 4 times the square root of 6 times the square root of 18. So then, okay, well, I have negative 6 times 4 is 24, negative 24. And then I got the square root of 6 times 18, which I'm going to rewrite 18 as 6 times 6 times 3, because if I break down 18, it's 6 and 3. And look at that. I have a pair of 6's right there. So I can go ahead and take one of the 6's out and put it outside. So it's negative 24 times 6 root 3. And I'm going to real quickly get my calculator out because I don't know what negative 24 times 6 is. So it's negative 24 times 6. That's negative 144 root 3. That's your answer. Number 7, okay. Look, I have a 20 and a 40 right here, but before I do anything, let's go ahead and multiply the coefficient to the coefficient, and then the radicand to the radicand. So I got negative 6, nope, just kidding, that's a positive 6, times root 20 times 40. Okay, so I have the square root of 40 right here. And look at that. If I break down this 40, break that into, well, I have 20 originally, and then this 40 is going to become 20 times 2, because 20 times 2 is 40. And look at that, I have a pair of 20s right here, so I will, technically I'm supposed to circle that, but you know that if you have a pair of the same number, one of them comes out and the other one gets, it's gone. You don't need that anymore. So it's 6 times 20 root what's left over, the 2. So it's 120 root 2, and that's your answer. And then over here, remember, if I have this and there's no plus or a minus sign anywhere, you can distribute the 2 to each number here. So it's -2 raised to the second power times root 7 to the second power. -2 times -2 is +4 times root 7 times root 7. That's root 49, or just 7. So your answer is 28. Then you can do 12 on your own, and then this right here shouldn't be too difficult. And the reason why I don't think this is difficult, because it's 7 times a perfect square, which you can actually put this in your calculator. That should give you a nice whole number there. 7 times some number. I'll let you figure that out. And then, 7 times this number, whatever that is, you're going to multiply that with this here. And I've already shown you how to approach this, because it's the same thing as that. So it's whatever number, it should be a nice whole number multiplied by this whole number here. Okay? Let's do 13. Okay, so I have root 3 over root 2. You cannot have you can't have a square root in the denominator, so you're going to rationalize. You're going to multiply the bottom and top by that radical, so root 2 in the bottom and root 2 up top. So that's the square root of 3 times 2 over 2, and that's the square root of 6 over 2. So this is actually your answer. Do not do square root of 6 divided by 2 where you think it's the square root of 3. That is not correct. Number 14. Let's do number 14. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, square root of 2 up top, and square root of 2 in the bottom, and also the top. 2 root 2 over 2. And look, you can cancel the 2 2's out. So that's the square root of 2. That's your answer. All right, now we're going to be asked to multiply. We're going to FOIL, so I have first, outer, inner, last. And then this is where I'm going to combine the like terms, so x squared minus 3x minus 18. That's your answer. And then 24, that's the same thing as so b plus 3, the quantity squared, is the same thing as saying b plus 3 twice. So b plus 3 times b plus 3. And then you're going to FOIL as an exercise. So FOIL that on your own. Here I'm going to factor. This one's easy. Because first of all, you don't need to find the GCF anywhere. You can see that I have 1, 2, 3 terms. This is where I'm going to use the X method. So remember, with the X method, you need to have C up top, B in the bottom, and you're going to figure out your two factors that multiply together. It'll give you C and add to B. For 26, I can see that we have 1, 2, 3 terms. And I want to figure out the GCF. The GCF is actually 3. So 3 times x squared minus 8x plus 15. Okay, so I'm factoring it. It becomes this. It's not completely factored. I can keep going because over here, that's a trinomial. And I can factor trinomials using the X method here. 15 goes up top, -8 goes in the bottom. What two numbers multiply together that'll give me 15 and add up to -8? And I'm going to use that cool calculator trick that I discovered. I'm going to press y equals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what my A, B, and C are first. So let's figure it out. So A is 1. B is -8. And C is +15. So you're going to write your C, so it's 15, divided by X. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to press Y equals, and then for the Y1, that's 15 divided by X. Your C divided by X. And then you're going to do the same thing. Your C divided by X plus X. Then you're going to press second graph, and you should get a table. Now, what you want to do, so there are numbers here under the Y2 category here. You're going to find where -8 is. Oh, look, -8 is right there. So, if I go back to my X method, notice that you see the -5, -3, and -8 is your B term, okay? So I'm going to put -5 here and -3 there. -5 times -3 is +15. And with the same numbers here, I got -5 plus -3. You're basically tacking on more negatives here, so you should get -8. So these are my two little factors. So how do I write this? I have x minus 5 times x minus 3, and don't forget the silly 3 that we had before. So now this is completely factored. That's my answer. Number 27, okay, so I have two terms. Ask yourself, do we use difference of two squares or GCF? Here I'm thinking GCF. Why? Because what number goes in a 10 and 2 at the same time? 2, and what else are we forgetting here? Well, they both carry an x, so I'm going to factor that x out. And it's going to go outside of the parentheses here. 2x times what number is 10x squared? I'm thinking 5x. And then 2x times what is 2x? Well, 2x times 1 is 2x. So, this is your answer. Number 30, okay. You see a perfect square here, perfect square here, perfect square here, and perfect square here. These terms are separated by the minus sign. So we're dealing with dots, difference of two squares. So this should give you 2x plus 5y times 2x minus 5y. And there you go. All right, 31, 32, 33. You're basically solving. You need to make sure that the other side is 0. If not, you're going to be subtracting, or you're going to be adding to make sure that it is 0, the other side. If I were to look at something like this over here, like suppose this was, x squared minus 2x equals 24. Well, you're going to have to, when you're solving, you need to make sure that this 24 goes away. And to do that, you need to subtract both sides by 24. And when you do so, you get x squared minus 2x minus 24. Okay? So this is what you're supposed to get as a result. Then you're going to go ahead and figure out what goes up top and what goes on the bottom. Negative 24 goes up top, negative 2 goes on the bottom. Now think of two numbers that multiply together that give you negative 24 and add to negative 2. Let me think. I'm thinking, okay, negative 6 and 4, because negative 6 times 4 is negative 24, and negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. So x minus 6 times x plus 4 is equal to 0. Or let me go ahead and just be a little bit more clear. So this equals 0, that remains the same, but this here becomes x minus 6 times x plus 4, okay? Take x minus 6, set that equal to 0, x is 6, and then this x plus 4 is equal to 0, x equals negative 4. That's your answer. 32, I guarantee you this is a difference of 2 squares. I highly recommend that you look back at the notes to do that. And then 33, okay, so the first thing is you need to make sure that one side is 0. And you can't do the x method right off the bat for this problem, well, at least in this course, because you want to factor you want to make sure that the other side is 0 and that you are factoring by the GCF. And I will take it back. You can do whatever you want in this course. You can also do the swing method if you want because you're solving. So if you want to do the swing method, if you know how to, that's awesome. But make sure that you are showing your work and demonstrating the steps necessary in order to get those answers, okay? So 33 will be an exercise for you to do. Toodaloo!